Hello and welcome to this video about the window of tolerance. My name is Lindsay and I'm a peer specialist with the Dorset Mental Health Forum. We also have a worksheet that goes alongside this bite-sized video. So if you'd like a copy, please contact the Rec office either by phone or email and we can get one sent to you. So in front of you, you should be able to see the window of tolerance, and I'm going to start off with this yellow zone in the middle. We refer to this as our window of tolerance, and when we're in this zone, we can feel really comfortable, we can feel emotionally regulated, calm, cool and collected, and we have the ability to self-soothe. So, for example, if my car broke down, then I would know what I need to do. I know I need to ring the recovery service, and I know that I may need to contact a friend to give me a lift somewhere. But it doesn't really affect the rest of my day. I can manage my emotions. I might feel angry or I might feel really annoyed. But as I said, it doesn't affect me in a way that's going to ruin the rest of my day. Above this zone, we have the red zone or the hyper-aroused zone and the fight and flight response. So the fight and flight response is something that we're all innately born with as humans, and it can be really, really helpful to protect us from danger and keep us safe. However, unfortunately, sometimes our brain can misinterpret events and this response can be triggered when there actually isn't any danger. When people are in this zone, they may feel a sense of anxiety. I know I personally get kind of jittery feeling and my breathing can go a bit different and I might get butterflies in my stomach. Some people say that they get quite overwhelmed and get an experience called emotional flooding. And this is when we get lots and lots of different really, really intense emotions all at once. So it's really hard to handle. Some people experience outbursts, and this could be either rage or it could be upset and emotional and a lot of crying. I know that's something that I experience. So sometimes I'll feel like an event will happen and it'll be the last straw and I will cry lots and lots and lots. It's almost like a volcano erupting. And it can sometimes feel a bit out of proportion for the event that happened. However, when it's a build-up of events, this can sometimes be the result. Some people will find they'll be quite impulsive and spend a lot of money. Everyone's slightly different and will experience this zone in different ways. But going back to my car example, if I was in this red zone, then I might find it really, really difficult to actually know what to do next. I could be crying a lot, could feel really emotional, get that emotional flooding that we were talking about, and just find it really hard to manage my emotions, and it could ruin the rest of my day. I may need support to know what to do next, as my brain can become quite fuzzled. Now, opposite the red zone, we have the blue zone or the hyper-aroused area, or a freeze response. So again, our freeze response is something that really helps protect us from danger. And it can come in different forms. So sometimes we hear the term rabbit in headlights, and that's when rabbits will stay really still. And it's an example of the kind of death response. And this is what animals do if they're in danger and they're scared that they're going to be attacked. They'll sort of play dead to protect themselves. Now, in humans, this can take many different forms. Some people feel quite disconnected from themselves and from their brain and their body. Now, our brain and body tells us lots of different stuff and gives us lots of signals, but when we're disconnected, we might find that we just can't react or notice those signals. Some people will feel quite numb. They don't have any emotions and they feel quite flat. And I know this is something that I experience, which I find really, really difficult. And sometimes I think I'd prefer to feel some emotion rather than none. And some people will find that they get full-on dissociation and can lose sort of hours out of their day or sometimes days out of their week. Now, going back to my car example again, if I was in the blue zone, I may find that when my car breaks down, I kind of lose a little bit of sense of reality and just feel really numb. So I don't feel any emotion. And I may kind of feel quite glazed and like I'm not really part of the event that's happening. So it'd be really hard to know what to do because I become very disconnected from the whole event. I almost liken it myself to I kind of go into a bit of a zombie stance. So I get that glazed look, I kind of make quite slow movements, And other people can say I look quite far away, and this would probably be what would happen if I was in the blue zone when this car broke down. But I do have some good news for you. There are ways that we can stay in our window of tolerance or help us to get back into it. An example of this might be mindfulness or grounding. One of our bite-sized videos on the rec is the grounding technique, the 5-4-3-2-1. So if you're interested in this technique, take a look at that video. Other things that we can do is make new choices, and this is something that I've really had to work on. I used to be a really big worrier and used to catastrophize events a lot. So it'd be sort of like, the world is ending, this is never going to get better, all those kind of things, which would just increase those negative emotions that I was feeling and those feelings of anxiety. And what I had to do was actually take a breath, stop, and think about what was happening. What's the facts? What can I do to help myself in my situation? Who can I find to help me with my situation? So it's kind of a bit of a problem-solving technique. And I found that making this new choice has really helped me to stay in my window. Now, there are lots of different reasons why we might go out of our window of tolerance. People that may have experienced trauma will find that they might perhaps have less resilience than someone who hasn't experienced it. So therefore, their window of tolerance will be smaller and they will go into the red and the blue zone a lot more. Sometimes it can be life events. So if we're really, really stressed because we're going to get married or we're moving house, something like that, then we'll find that our window of tolerance will be really small, which means we'll be pushed out of it a lot more easily. So I've covered the window of tolerance with you. Now, it has been quite a short journey, but hopefully you have been able to get something out of it. Now, there are some questions that you can think of and think about, and these are on the worksheet. But in the meantime, things that might be worth having a think about would be, what signs have you got that you're in your window of tolerance? And what signs are there that you're out of your window of tolerance? And do you go into the red, the hyper-aroused zone more? Or do you go into the hyper-aroused, the blue zone more? Or is it kind of 50-50? And what techniques can you find or do you use already that keeps you in your window of tolerance? And maybe start to have a think about the triggers that make you leave your window. What do they look like for you? So thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you on the rec again soon.